welcome to your nutritional fundamentals video. This is going to be a breakdown of the absolute basics of nutrition. This is something that every personal trainer, nutritionist, dietitian learns very early on, and I think it'd be massively beneficial for you to know this and understand how our bodies work with regards to food. So in order to do this, we're going to be using a priorities pyramid, and what would any good self-respecting nutritional plan be without some kind of nutritional pyramid? So this nutritional pyramid does not tell you what to eat, however, it tells you the priorities when it comes to two things: fat loss and muscle gain. So fat loss and muscle gain is dependent on only one factor, and that one factor is calories, and to be precise, how many calories you take in one day. So this is probably the most important piece of information in terms of this video. So you cannot lose weight unless you eat less calories than your body needs, and the opposite is true. You cannot gain weight / muscle unless you eat more calories than your body needs. This is a core scientific principle. It's been around for decades now, and it's the fundamental piece of every diet. So no matter what diet you do, so let's just say that you're doing a fat loss diet, every diet is basically trying to make you eat less calories, whether you're on a shakes diet, whether you're doing keto, Atkins, loads of diets out there, but every single diet has the same principle in mind, and this is not food deficit but calorie deficit. So how much calories are in our foods. So it's really important to understand this going forward, and you'll see why in terms of how your plan is built and how we're going to basically do a food journal. So calories is absolutely priority number one. So you can see on the bottom of the pyramid there that this is a number one determinant, and probably 80 to 90% of your results will come from this. So if you're fat loss, I've basically put you in a 25 to 35% calorie deficit. Now this is sustainable. So basically a lot of diets, like I said previously, will put you in an insane deficit, you lose tons of weight and you'll gain it all back on because you're so hungry, you're starved of nutrients, and that's why short-term diets don't work. So with this, the deficit is not crazily low, but you'll still achieve the results, and even better, you'll be able to sustain them after it's over. So after your plan is over, you're not going to feel starving, you're not going to feel like you need to go back into your old habits or anything like that, and you also have a foundational knowledge of nutrition as well as a habit built. So this is the core principles of this plan. So calories is priority number one. Priority number two, and close second, is macronutrients. So there are three macronutrients. These are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So protein is basically great for muscle repair, muscle recovery, and body fat loss. So typically we'll find this in fish, meats, and some whole grains as well, like pasta and rice. Our second macronutrient then is carbohydrates. So you might have heard a lot about carbohydrates, especially in the media these days. They're quite hyped up as if they're not so good. But we have two types of carbohydrates basically. So we have the fast releasing carbohydrates, also more commonly known as sugar. This is when, say, you eat a banana or a chocolate bar, the energy is released within the first half an hour, and you use it up straight away. The second type of carbohydrate then is a slow releasing carbohydrate found in things like whole grain bread, whole grain rice, whole wheat pasta, and this is very slow releasing, so it releases over a few hours, giving you steady energy. And that is the point of carbohydrates, is to give you energy basically throughout the day, and for your workouts and for your post workouts. The third macronutrient then is fat. So again, another one that's kind of been demonized as well, is that fat is bad, but we need fat like we need the other two macronutrients in order to have a healthy and sustainable diet. So with fat, you have again an unhealthy fat and a healthy fat. So the healthy fat is going to be, it's what's called unsaturated fat. So you'll find this in things like avocados, olive oil, and then you have our bad fats, which are unsaturated and trans fats, which you will typically find in cookies, pizzas, etc. So we kind of already know, most people know what good and bad foods are. So we don't need to exclude any of these macronutrients from our diets in order to lose weight. Now, an easy way to diet is just to cut one out and then you'll be in your calorie deficit, but it's highly unsustainable because you're never not going to eat carbs again or fat again, basically. So as boring as it sounds, what we need is well-balanced diet of a well-balanced macronutrient count. And that's what I've done for you as well. So your macronutrients are very unique to you. Even the percentages are not the same for every person. So it really depends on the person, their goals, their body. And that's why, as you'll see in a few pages and videos down that your macronutrients are completely personalized to you. So macronutrients are super important. So just the relationship between calories and macronutrients. So this is probably as difficult and as sciencey and numbersy as it's about to get. So just to break it down. So if you have 1 gram of protein, that will equal 4 calories. If you have 1 gram of carbohydrates, that equals 4 calories. And if you have 1 gram of fat, that equals 9 calories, okay? So each gram basically will equal a certain amount of calories, and all your calories are built up from these 3 macronutrients basically, and we need all 3 at different times for different functions, as you'll read on. So macronutrients are good for us as long as we don't overeat on them or any food in general. Too much of anything is always going to be bad for us. So just on a side note, there's a 4th macronutrient which isn't really talked about too much because it's kind of like carbs but not really. It's called alcohol, which I'm sure you know it. So this is, if you eat 1 gram or consume 1 gram of alcohol, you'll have 7 calories. So before you even add the mixer to alcohol, or before you even add anything to it, alcohol in its purest form has calories, and it also stops your metabolism completely as well. So it's not great for burning fat, to be honest, and there'll be guidelines in this plan, and there'll be tips for when you're heading out drinking as well, and what drinks to drink and how much to drink down later in the plan. So just to be aware of these macronutrients. So calories and macronutrients are the most important thing that you need to be aware of. You'll see in the pyramid as well that there's 3 more kind of priorities, not as important as the first 2. Micronutrients, I wouldn't worry too much about them. Your plan is going to be heavy on fruits and veg, and this is exactly what micronutrients are. It's going to be vitamins and minerals, and you'll get all this from the fruits and veg in your meal plan. The next one then is the nutrient timing. So again, your meal plan kind of has this sorted with a breakfast, lunch and dinner and snack options. If you're eating 2 to 5 times a day, there's nothing to worry about too much. The best time to eat a meal is right after you've had a workout. A high protein, high carb meal is the best time. Nothing much more to be said, and micronutrients in that. The last one, which might surprise some people, is supplements. So these can be completely irrelevant. You can achieve all the results you want in the world without having a single supplement. So having said that, I do recommend protein to some people because it can be quite a difficult and expensive macronutrient to hit if you're always buying meat and fish and corn, etc. Other than that, you do not need supplements to be successful, either if you're going to gain weight, gain muscle, or if you want to lose weight, lose muscle. Supplements are not necessary even slightly. Supplement, the actual word, means in addition to. So you get the first 4 right, and then you look at supplements basically. So like I said, supplements are only for when something isn't adding up in your nutrition plan. So if you just can't hit that protein macronutrient, if you're just not getting enough in, then it's a really good idea to definitely add some protein in there. Or for example, if you're lifting heavy weights in the gym, you're looking for a little bit extra boost, you might add some creatine in. But again, depending on how your plan is going, I would recommend and adjust it and recommend supplements when they are needed.